I'm putting the false doctrine that he teaches, which is literal, just he's just a mess. Let me just put it that way, doctrinally. I'm putting that aside. I'm just saying practically, from listening or claiming to hear from God, listening and claiming to hear from God, and then making a video, and then making a retraction video saying I didn't hear from God. How do you trust? If you're charismatic, how do you trust that? You can't. Now, I don't believe, never have believed, Marcus is hearing from God. Not just because of the mystical aspect of it, but because of the doctrine. And I'm going to be making a separate video, that's in the plans anyway, a separate video of the doctrine of Marcus Rogers and why people should be concerned about that. But we're going to take a look at this, I think this is his latest because, like I said, when I downloaded it yesterday, it said it had been up 14 hours. So my guess is it's his latest video. And he's talking about exposure, the year of exposure. And so he's going to be discussing that in this video, and it is a mess. So we're going to walk through this, and we're just going to see what he says. So let's take a look at the first part.
Listen, guys, one of the reasons why I'm always saying pray about everything for yourself is because the Bible says in the last days there'll be doctrines of devils, seducing spirits, great falling away, many false Christs. As you guys can see on the internet, it is getting worse and worse. Everybody's arguing about this one, that one. You better know God for yourself. The reason why this is so important is because a lot of people, they know Christianity, they know church, they know what American Christianity is. They might even have a Bible college degree, and they still don't know God. And I'm going to give you an example. God made it very clear that 2024, what was on his agenda was exposure. Many prophets, men and women, prophesied at the beginning of 2024 that 2024 would be a year of exposure. So a prophet is to reveal the heart of what God is saying. See, America taught you that a prophet is somebody that can say, hey, I saw you doing this last week. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so accurate. No, because demons and devils, right, are roaming the earth, watching you, observing, monitoring spirits, getting information. And so a demon can say, hey, this is what they did last week. And then somebody can say, hey, this is what you did last week. That doesn't mean it's necessarily from God.
Okay, so there is a lot to talk about just in that first clip. First of all, Marcus Rogers mentions that in the last days there's going to be doctrines of demons, great falling away, false Christs, things like that. But he never even mentioned false prophets, which is what Marcus Rogers has proven to be time and time again. Not just from his false doctrine, which that's a big part of it, but from his hearing from God. Oh, nope, didn't hear from God. Oh, wait a minute, I'm hearing from God. Nope, didn't hear from God. So Marcus Rogers is a false prophet, period. End of discussion. He has no business standing up there and teaching you anything. And then he says that there are people that, they might even have a college degree, and yet they don't know God. And then he gives an example. God clearly spoke to me, he says, and told me, or God clearly spoke to him and to a bunch of other prophets, that 2024 was the year of exposure. Now he says God made it clear. God made it clear that 2024 was the year of exposure. How did God make that clear? How did God make that clear? Now, in the Jonathan and Susie interview, Jonathan and Susie Lamb interview, he said, if I remember correctly, I don't have the video up, but if I remember correctly, he said that God told him specifically that I want you, this is going to be the year of exposure. Now, I went and looked, I just went and did a quick search on year of exposure. And do you know, I found people saying it was a year of exposure in 2015, 2013, even far back as 2007. So, yeah, I mean, this Marcus did not hear from God. A year of exposure. First of all, the Bible tells us that we are to expose sin.